What's up? We got Supergirl Season 1, Episode 15, Solitude. So this episode starts off with 13 years ago, where we see Kara in her pod, where it's waken up by a mysterious symbol. So this episode starts off, then we see, why did I say start off? I'm getting confused. Then we see present day, where Alex is like, where Kara's like, hey, am I gonna have to X-ray vision those donuts and see if there's crawlers in there? And she's like, no, they're all out. But I did get you the sugared one. And she's like, why did you get me donuts? And she's like, I got you donuts for your first day back at work. And she's like, no. And she's like, what? And she's like, I'm not going back to the DEO. And she's like, Kara, yeah. You realize from Hank's point of view, he thought he was doing the right thing. And she's like, I thought I was getting through the Astra, bringing her back to the light side. But then Hank decided to ruin all that. Lying does not help. And throughout the entire episode, Alex does start to rethink what she's done and rethink maybe she should tell Kara about the real reason Astra died. So we go to Cat Grant's Catco Worldwide Media, and Siobhan's still being the absolute worst. And she's like, TLD, come with me. And then Siobhan says, Kara, I guess that makes you Tweedle dumb. And Kara's like, I could just throw her into space right now. I could just do that. I agree. Okay, I don't. But Siobhan is the worst. For some reason, she has a thing against Kara. It's not known why she and Kara have this rivalry. She just does. Yeah, so there's this hacker who's hacking people out of stuff. So then we see Jean and Alex training, and he's like, hey, if you need some training, take it out in the field. And she's like, she's not angry, she's just sad. She wishes Kara being, and she's like, Kara made her choice to not be here. And she's like, why don't I just tell her what really happened to Asher? And she's like, no, she'll never forgive you, and then she'll be mad at both of us. So then we meet at Catco, Cars, and all Catgrants, answers when we meet the new villain of this episode, Indigo, and she's played by original Supergirl herself, Smallville Supergirl, Laura Vandervoot. Yeah, Laura Vandervoot. It would have been interesting if she played the superhero Kara Kent instead of Indigo, but it's still great to have her in this show. It's like the original. It's like the old generation of Smallville. Her meeting the new Supergirl, even though she's not playing Supergirl, she's not playing Kara Kent. It would have been. It's still pretty interesting to have a Smallville actor come to play a role on the show. So they try to figure out where this mysterious person is coming from, and they decide to, but they're able to hack into the ladies, or Indigo is able to hack into when, and she's like, wow, you're a big ape. And he's like, and you're blonde meanie, I think is what he said. So he's like, hey, show us where you are, when do you want to meet? And he's like, how about now? And shows up in this blue form, the Laura Van. It's still played by Laura, but Laura human form is just a disguise. It's still voiced and played by Laura, but it's just I'm just fanboying that we actually had a Smallville cast member come onto this show. We need more of them. We need more of the Smallville cast members. I think she's the only Smallville cast member. So so then she pushed Supergirls out a window, pushed cars out a window, like, and she's like, I'm gonna hurt your two friends, but then the DEO note comes in, and Kara's like, and the DEO, like, hey, like, I got that, and he's like, we tracked aliens, so we tracked her here. He's like, can you help me? Can you help us find her? And he's like, no, that's DEO stuff, and since they're not the DEO anymore. And she's like, yeah, fine, I can do this on my own. I don't need you, Hank. I can do this on my own. So James decides to take Kara to the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, and also, okay, so Non meets up, first we'll talk about this. Non meets up with Indigo, and Indigo is like, oh yeah, hey, like, what's up? And he's like, should you be giving her his condolences? And she's like, no, I despise Dasha. We were a better couple, Non. And I'm just like, you, an alien, and Non were together, I'm guessing before he married Astra. Yeah, yeah, so he's like, you reactivated now? Why? And he's like, to blow up the city. So Kara tells James that Clark always invited her to the Fortress of Solitude, but she didn't come because it would always make her miss Krypton. So we meet Calyx, the alien in Kara's dream sequence, and she's like, hey, do you know anything about a blue computer hacker? And he's like, they are the Colindanians, and one of them was named Brainiac 8, or now Indigo. And she's like, why was she? And she was sent to Fort Ross for trying to destroy Krypton's weapon system, and she was labeled the most dangerous dangerous prisoner sent to Fort Ross. Interesting. So Kara goes to fight Indigo, but Indigo reveals that Kara's the only reason why Kara made it to Earth was because of Indigo. Yeah, Indigo's whole thing is that Indigo says that she was always trying to get into the Phantom, trying to get into the Phantom Zone for years, but she was able to tap into Kara's pod, and she linked her to Fort Ross, and she's the only reason why she made it to Earth. So, this is not Kara's fault. This is Indigo's. Because Indigo is a genocidal psychopath. I think. Indigo is a genocidal psychopath who wants to blow up the Earth. Yeah, but then Kara flies, and she's like, hey, we need to work together. And she's like, okay. And yeah, so Wynn helps them because Alex called showed up at Kara's work. Why did I say Cat's work? Kara's work to get Wynn, and Captain and tells Kara code, and they send a virus into Indigo, deleting her. But Non's able to have a second version of Indigo ready. That means that this is the last we'll see of Ward of Vandervoot as Indigo. So she's like, Kara goes to DM and is like, hey, whatever we had, we need to put that behind us if we're going to work together. And he's like, starting together. And Alex is like, Hank didn't kill Astra. She did. And she's like, she was going to kill him. And she didn't say that she's a kryptonite story. She said she was, and instead of being mad, Kara just hugs her. So you can be mad. I guess it's a sisterly thing. Like Like, she was mad at Hank because... But when it comes to her sister, she can forgive her sister for anything. I'm guessing. And I'm guessing. Yeah, we also learned some things between Win and Siobhan. That Siobhan's dad slept with his secretary and promised to never do it again. And Win talks about his dad going to prison, and then they make out. So that means Win and Siobhan are a thing? Okay. I don't get it. Win, Siobhan are a thing. Win and Siobhan are a thing, okay? I don't like Siobhan, but I do like Win. Siobhan just comes off as a villain. And as I said before, Laura Vandervoot is awesome. I'm just going to say that. Laura is awesome. She was great in this episode. She was great in this episode. Even though it would have been cool to see her portray as Supergirl. She was pretty good as the villain. Only if we got more Smallville cast members. Too bad. Because the rest of the actors on this show in this universe are from Prison Break. But anyway, that was it for this video. I'll see you next time for some more Supergirl. Up, and away.